wheel, use a 17mm socket to take the lug bolts out. When you get to the last one, you might want to hold the wheel on so it doesn't fall. Grab the wheel and slide it off. Take this brake hose off right here. There's a clip. Take that clip off. Then you can just slide this grommet out. Slide that out of the way. Using a 16mm socket, you want to take this nut off. And if the stud is spinning, we're going to use some locking pliers. Just like this. I'm going to go on the back side. That's going to squeeze the stud from spinning. Take that nut off. Take those off. I'm going to remove these wires from the retainers. Just grab them and just kind of twist them out a little bit. There's just some rubber grommets on them. You just need to move them out of the way. That's good enough. Now we're going to take the lower shock bolt out. I'm going to use an 18mm wrench on the nut right here and a 16mm socket on the bolt. Take that out. And slide that bolt out. On the back side of the knuckle, there is a slit. If you can get a pry bar, or they do make special tools to get in there to spread this a little bit. You can tap that open a little bit, just pry it. You can even try it from underneath. Now I just want to take a large punch and just right in this area, I just want to hammer down the knuckle. You want to separate it from the strut. You should be able to see that it's starting to move right there. There we go, it's separated. Up top, we're going to take these 3 nuts off. Use a 13mm socket. And before you take the last one off, you want to grab the strut from underneath. And then just grab the strut and slide it out. You want to set the spring up into a compressing tool similar to this and compress the spring. Be careful, there's a lot of tension under the spring. We're going to take this cap off right here. Just use a small prying tool and you can access the nut. Now I'm just going to use the pry tool and just pry down on the bumper just so we can access the top part of the shaft for the strut. If you have the proper tool to loosen up the nut, they do make a special tool where you can have the right size. It's a 22mm socket, and then you can get in the center and keep the stud from spinning. But if you don't have that, you can use some locking pliers on the top part of the shaft. Just hold it from spinning. Tighten that down. And we'll take the nut off using a 21mm socket. Now carefully hold the shock underneath and loosen up the clamp. And there it is. You want to take the new strut and compress it 3 times, fully compressed. Then let it extend. And do that 3 times. just going to do it one more time, just to make sure. That's good. Now we're going to transfer these pieces over to the new one. Line that up. Same with this bumper. And just slide it onto the new one, just like that. Slide the strut into the spring through the mount, and we'll get the nut started. If you have that special tool, you want to tighten the nut down with that. If not, you can use the locking pliers. Just make sure you're higher up on the strut, not anywhere near the seal. Lock those down. Now I'm going to torque this nut to 47 foot-pounds. That's good. Release the pliers. Make sure everything's lined up down below to the spring. And loosen up on the compressor, the spring compressor. It's loose. That's good. And slide it out. Now you can install it in the car. And just put this cap on before you install it, just like that. We can just slide it up in position. Just make sure these wires are in the right spot. It goes up the same way it came out. Line that up. Get the nut started. Keep in mind there is a tab, so you need to make sure that tab lines up. You can see where there's an arrow right there. So that goes up with that. I'm just going to snug those up. I don't want to torque those yet. There's 2 pins on the back side of this right here. Those are going to go in that slot on the knuckle. So slide that in position. Get that lined up with that slot. Raise up on the knuckle a little bit. Those look good. And then underneath, you can use a floor jack. Just try to press up on the lower control arms underneath the ball joint. You can raise the knuckle right in position. Just be careful of your fingers. It should be all the way down. And we'll take that bolt. Line that bolt up. Get the nut started. And tighten that nut down. Now I'm going to torque this bolt to 74 foot-pounds. Now I can tighten these down. And torque these to 25 foot-pounds. Good. Now I can lower the floor jack. Now take the wires and slide those into the brackets with the grommets. Just like that. Now slide the link in to the bracket, and then you can take the nut, put the nut on. On the back side, I'm using an 18mm wrench. I'm going to hold the stud from spinning and use a 15mm socket. Tighten down the nut. Now I'm going to torque the nut to 47 foot-pounds. Take this grommet, line that up. Slide that in position, and then take the bracket, slide that over, and lock it down. Put the wheel back on, line that up. Get the lug stud started. Now I'm going to torque the lug nuts to 110 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. I'll just go around again, double check. After you're done this job, keep in mind you need to bring the vehicle to a local garage to have it aligned so you don't have premature tire wear.